I have another question. Why does everyone love Andy so much in this movie?
Bro,
So,
you're bugging.
oh, hold on. Like, and again, I don't dislike Andy. Andy's like great in this movie. Like, he's like puts in like a top performance. But I feel like for me, if I feel like it stands out more because the rest of the cast aren't really that spectacular, and there wasn't really much interesting about everyone else in this movie. So that when you actually have some type of substance within the character, and you have like kind of like the flips and the flops that happen with the directives and stuff like that in this movie, and you see the way that he's like able to like portray like kind of like the weak, timid like android, and then like the confident one and stuff like that. I feel like it's all great, but I feel like it's because everything about else about the rest of the cast are quite unspectacular, and there's not really that many other great characters in this.
So I think he's the best character by far, the
Yeah.
most interesting one. I also agree that the rest of the cast makes him look good by how bland they are. So he really does stand out. I do think there's interesting stuff going on here. So one of them is that every Alien movie, at least aliens in this, have had an android in it, and each time it's been different. So the question here would have been, how do you repeat the Bishop trick, right? Because Bishop was an android, but he played a very different role in the plot compared to Ash in the first movie. And the question is, can you do this again? Can you come up with a third way of making an android interesting in this world? And I think they did. I think this whole idea that he's basically refurbished, right? That they found him in a scrap heap and they fixed him, and he's kind of been the equal parts friend, protector, and teddy bear for Rain, is interesting, and it ties into this. Again, echoes this idea of creator and creation, right? Where the android is the product of human ingenuity. And then the question is, what happens? Like, Prometheus thought that by itself was profound, right? The idea that humanity created androids and therefore that we are gods. That was kind of the idea. And here, it doesn't do that. It just says, okay, we created these living things for all intensive purposes. And now what? How do we relate to each other? Who is more important than the other? And that's reflected in the directive that Andy has, right? At first, it's protect your maker. The second one is benefit the company. And then the third one is an update to the first, which is the creation and the creator are equal partners and they go forward together. Right? So there's this progression here. And so Andy's behavior is determined or guided by whichever directive is currently active. But there's a progression in what the directive is. And because he has pretty much all of the agency, because he has the knowledge and the skills to drive the plot forward, what his current active directive is and how it gets changed and why interacts with the plot itself in really interesting ways, I thought. And it kind of picks up the ideas from Prometheus, but does much more interesting things with them.
Just to add on a bit to what Daniel said, I think the way he executed the character transitions was really good. Because firstly, his character transitions were justified. So first, he starts off as someone that's pretty much confused, and his like Daniel says, his mission in that one is just pretty much to protect Rain. And then you see doubt, where and then he transitions into someone now that has a bit of doubt. Well, he transitions to someone that has a bit of doubt once he's introduced to what's his name, Rook, and then he transitions again to someone who now has a different mission, who's pretty much to make sure that the alien doesn't leave at all costs. And you could kind of say that is justified, and you could kind of be rooting for that transition because the way that the other crew members were treating him, mainly Tyler's cousin, but the way even Tyler was reacting to his cousin in terms of like how he was trying to stop him, it wasn't even really. It seemed like he was kind of like on his side, because we did find out why obviously Tyler's cousin was pretty much terrible to him, because obviously his past with synthetics, but still. So just for me personally, it's just like the way that he executed his character transitions is what made his performance amazing.